Now, on to part C. Part C, again, this could be alternated with part B. So this is talking about the cost of the heat loss. Okay, so how much it costs for the year, that could be in part B, and part B in this case could be down here. All right. Now, the good thing about this question here, if you weren't able to have a look at part B, all right, so if you weren't able to do that, you were still able to carry on to part C, all right, if you were to read the question, all right. So calculate the cost of heat loss annually through the upgraded roof at 5B above using the following data, all right. So you're using the U value, so the U value from part B, right, so the U value was actually given to you, all right, so it was 0.16, so you didn't have to calculate, you weren't required to have, you didn't actually have to figure out what part B was to actually move on to part C, all right, you're actually given that information to move on, okay. So part C, 20 marks, 33%, okay, so that's where your marks are coming from, and I'll show you where they are split up once we get to part C done. Okay, so the first part of this, we need to look at heat loss. Right, so the heat loss formula. So that's equal to the U value by area by temperature difference. Okay. So here we're using the U value, the new one that we've put on the insulation, so we're taking for granted that the roof's been upgraded. So the U value in this case is 0.16. Alright, so the area of the flat roof given to us is 34 multiplied by the temperature difference. Okay, so the temperature difference is 24 minus 3. Okay, so 24 minus 3 is 21. Okay, so that's going to help us figure out this part. Okay, so now we multiply 0.16 by 34 by 21. Okay, which gives us 114.24. 114.24. I'm just going to put that through again, just to be sure. So 0.16 by 34 by 21. Yeah. Okay, so that's what that gives us. So that's watts per second. Okay, so that's the first part. Then we need to figure out the heating period. Right, so the heating period. Basically how often the heating is on. So that has to be found in seconds. Okay, so we have 60 by 60 by hours in the day. Hours per day by days per week by weeks per year. Alright, so in this case the heating period, it's on for 9.5 hours per day every day for 44 weeks. Alright, so it's on 7 days a week for 9.5 hours. Okay, so we've 60 minutes, 60 seconds by the 9.5 hours per day by the 7 days a week by the 43 weeks. Right, so that's going to give us our total in seconds. So 60 by 60 by 9.5 by 7 by 43, which which is a lot. Okay, so I'm just going to go through it again. 60 by 60 by 9.5 by 7 by 43. Okay, which gives me 10 million. Seconds then. Right, so that's how many seconds the heating is on for. Alright, then we need to figure out the amount of oil. Okay, so that's heat loss by time period. Right, so this is to figure out the amount of oil. Okay, so we're basically going to multiply. We're multiplying 114.24 multiplying by the 10 million figure there. Okay, so we're multiplying 114.24 by 10 to 94 200. Alright, we're multiplying that and we're placing that over 1,000. And what does that give us? So 114.24 multiplied by 10 million 294 200 and divide that by 1,000 gives us 1176009.08, and we're dividing that by the calorific value of the oil, right? So that's the energy that 1 litre of oil expends or sends out. Okay, so divided by 37,350. Okay, so that gives us a value of 31.49 litres. Okay, so that's what that gives us. So litres of oil, and then we need to find out the cost then. So the cost is equal to amount of oil by the cost of the oil. Okay, so we have 31.49 litres multiplied by, in the question, we're told it's 86 cents, right? So 0.86 cent per litre, and that's going to give us so 31.49 multiplied by 0.86, which gives us a cost of 27.8, so €27.08 is the heat loss, the cost of the heat loss. Alright, so there's a lot going on in that part. Okay, again 20 marks. How long are we at this part now? 9 minutes. Alright, so 20 marks, so where are the marks coming from in this? So you're getting 5 marks to get that figure, you're getting 5 marks to get that figure, you're getting 5 marks to get that figure, and you're getting 5 marks to get that figure. Okay, so that's where your 20 marks come from. So the heat loss formula, so you're just basically multiplying your U value by the area by the temperature difference, right? So you're given an internal and external temperature. To find that temperature difference, it's usually a simple calculation. So that's multiplying that out. So, I mean, you should all be able to get that. Right, then the heating period, right? So you're breaking it down into the number of seconds that the heating is on for. So we have 60 minutes, we have 60 seconds. Then it's 9.5 hours per day. That's what we're told in the question, for 7 days a week for 43 weeks. Okay, so we're told that bit of information in the question. So we're told 9.5, 7 and 43. You just need to remember to multiply by 60 and by 60 as well to get that figure. Okay, here's where it gets a little bit more tricky. So the amount of oil is the heat loss multiplied by the time period. So that's the heat loss from the first part that you've done. Time period then is what you've done in the second part, and dividing it by 1,000. And then your answer then is divided by 37,350, right? So the calorific value of the oil. Right, so that's the total energy that you required, and then that's the energy that 1 litre gives out. All right, so that's the total energy given out that needs to be given out. That's what 1 litre gives. So that's why you require, when you divide that into that, you're required to have basically 31.5 litres of oil to cover that. And then your cost, then the amount of oil multiplied by the cost of the oil. The cost of the oil is given to you in the question, and then it's just a simple multiplication question, right? So I've said a couple of times now throughout this, part B and part C could be alternated. It can be switched around, all right?